Thanks for joining us from the Ohio AgNet Voice You Know with the News You Trust studio, sponsored by Grain Equipment Company, where innovation meets execution. I'm Dave Russell. The beneficial ownership information filing requirement is once again lifted. Chad Smith has more.
Farmers and ranchers may be feeling like they're on a roller coaster when it comes to beneficial ownership information reporting requirements. A previously reinstated filing requirement has once again been put on hold. Dustin Shearer, Director of Government Affairs for the American Farm Bureau Federation, says a federal court has again delayed a requirement to report information to the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, or FinCEN.
The same circuit court, but a different panel, the merits panel, said we agree to hear this appeal, but we are vacating the stay of the injunction that was issued in the meantime in order to maintain the constitutional status quo. Once again, we are back where we were on December 3rd, which is there is no filing deadline for this information as of right now.
Shearer says farmers and ranchers may have to wait a little while longer before a permanent decision is made.
I would expect something to happen within the next month or two, but obviously that also coincides with some political changes. We have a new Congress getting sworn in January 3rd. We have a new administration getting sworn in on January 20th. I expect the incoming administration to have a different view of the Corporate Transparency Act than the current one.
He says any small business owner who may be required to file should have their paperwork in place just in case.
That is our recommendation. If you have consulted with an attorney or a CPA, or you've looked at the rules yourself and believe that you are a business owner who has a small business who is subject to these filing requirements, it is our strong recommendation that you have all this information gathered up and ready to file should the court decide to reinstate the deadline at some point in the near future.
Chad Smith, Washington.
U.S. egg production totaled $8.92 billion during November 2024, down 4% from last year. Production included 7.68 billion table eggs and 1.24 billion hatching eggs, of which 1.15 billion were broiler type, 90.3 million egg type. The average number of layers during November totaled 376 million. That's down 3% from last year. Following congressional votes on year-end legislation, National Corn Growers Association President Ken Hartman Jr. says corn growers were disappointed about no year-round access to E15. Hartman says the no-cost provision would have provided a market-driven solution to farmers experiencing low corn prices. The organization is calling on legislators to address the matter as quickly as possible at the start of the new Congress and fix that issue once and for all. U.S. agriculture is bracing for a potential work stoppage at East and Gulf Coast ports that could greatly disrupt American red meat exports. Contract negotiations between the International Longshoremen's Association and the U.S. Maritime Alliance broke down in mid-November over issues related to automation and have shown little progress over the past month. The U.S. Meat Export Federation says that uncertainty is already impacting red meat exports. A report from the University of Florida says Hurricane Milton, a Category 3 hurricane, when it made landfall on October 9th, hit more than 5.7 million acres of agricultural land. Preliminary estimates of production losses for Florida's agricultural producers from Milton are between $190.4 million and $642.7 million. The markets, they're next.
4.8 million. That's the number of acres of soybeans planted in Ohio, making it the state's largest crop. Hi, this is Dusty Sonnenberg, host of the Ohio Field Leader Podcast, a production of the Ohio Soybean Council and Soybean Checkoff. Join me as I visit with agricultural leaders and researchers to discuss soybean production, best management practices, precision ag technology, and environmental and water quality topics. Listen wherever you get your podcast, the Ohio Field Leader Podcast.
Joey from Vermont, a farmer trying to get through the winter. Adriana from South Carolina, a single mother living paycheck to paycheck. Liam from Ohio, an injured father struggling to provide for his family. Hi, I'm Shanola Hampton, And I support the Feeding America network of food banks because they help provide over 6 billion meals to people in need each year. Learn more at feedingamerica.org.
The market's brought to you by Seed Consultants, simply better performance, online at seedconsultants.com. At the Board of Trade, March corn $4.52 1/4, down 1 3/4. May corn $4.60, down 1 1/2. January beans $9.82, up 2 cents. March beans $9.91 3/4, up 2 cents. July wheat $5.66 1/4, up 2 1/2. At the Mercantile Exchange, December cattle $194.07, up 57 cents. February hogs $81.62, down $2.52. March feeder cattle $261.05, up 50 cents. This is the Ohio AgNet.